by the way. I associate pastor here and run the school ministry, and that's kind of what I do. And Steve's not here, obviously, so he passed the baton to me. So I got some things to share with you guys. You guys all right with that? Yeah, you're going to have to be because you're stuck with me. So here's the deal. July 8th, 2001 was actually the day that Jesus found me. So however many years ago that was, what is that, 17? 17 years ago, people. Jesus came and chased me down. So July 8th is a kind of interesting day around here, isn't it? It's Steve and Vicky's anniversary. It's actually my in-laws, Stephanie's mom and dad, their anniversary, and it happened to be my day that I found Jesus day. Cool, huh? Day that Steve's house burned down. That doesn't quite, mix in that whole list of fun things. Yeah, anyway. So, I have a word for you guys. I've been chewing on it for a little bit. Steve called me yesterday and said, hey, can you take it for me? And I said, of course. And I guess it's just the time for this little nugget to fall out, hey? And it's a continual reminder that God is with us. I know that sounds kind of boring, but in the time that we're dealing with around the Father's house, time that we're dealing with certain circumstances that are going on, we don't understand always why we're in this position and what's going on. And we have to realize that God is always with us. What happened when I met Jesus and Jesus met me was I hated everything about everything. I hated people. I hated life. I hated everything. It was a hopeless situation in my life. And my dad was going to church at the time. He said, hey, Geordie, do you want to come to church with us? And I said, yeah, whatever. I'll go with you, because I could just hear in his voice that he wanted the family to be together in that moment. And so I went. And so I'm sitting, and it's worship, and there's flag wavers and all that stuff, right? People dancing and all this weird stuff going on at church, and totally uncomfortable, right? And I'm sitting there with my head in my hands, and I'm going, what is going on right now, right? And for some reason, God met me in that moment. And he became more real than any living thing. And he was the most real thing. And it was one of those situations where I knew that there was a crossroads in my life of either I'm in or I'm out, and this is the moment where I get to choose. And I decided in that moment just to say, just do whatever. And that was my salvation prayer. Pretty fancy, huh? I just do whatever. Like, that was my, I'm in kind of thing, right? And it was Communion Sunday, that Sunday as well. And so I did communion for the first time for real, of just going, I'm with you. And something from that moment has stuck with me all the way through until 17 years now. It's just like there's an awareness, a constant awareness that God is always with me. I don't know why that happened, where that happened, how I get that awareness. Maybe that's not unique, but sometimes I think it's unique. I'm special, right? So there's this awareness that God is with me. And so I know that he's with me all the time in whatever I'm doing. But for me, it was this progression of actually learning what he was doing and why he's with me and what he wants me to do. And this understanding that you want me to go to church? Remember, I hate people. Guess where people congregate? Yeah, or forget this noise. I don't want to, but if that's where you want me to be, then that's where I'm going to be. People would want me to talk. And the thing that I don't really like doing very much is talking. And, hey, Geordie, what do you think? I was like, I don't care. Right? That's what I think, Anyway. So, God just really revealing himself to me and saying, Geordie, this is who you are, man. Consider this. Don't you see this part? And it was this awareness that he's with me all the time. And I think we kind of lose sight of that as we go through our Christian journey. Don't you agree with that? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But we kind of lose sight of this understanding that he's with us. We have this amazing moment. We've all experienced God. Amen? We've all experienced it in some degree. There was a move of God happening in worship today. And if you got it, you got it. And it was great, right? The presence of God, the holiness of God, the glory of God comes in a room. And you know that something's different. It's different than when you're sitting at home. It's different than when you're sitting on the street. It's different when you're just in a whatever place. You come into this place, we all worship together, and something different happens. And he's there, and he's with us. But then that moment kind of slowly fades away, doesn't it? Just like when you meet Jesus for the first time or the second time or the 100th time, right? It's just, he's there, I want to change my life. And it's this thing we grasp onto for our future. We think that we're going to go somewhere. Like, I'm going to hang on to this aroma of what happened when I met you, Jesus. And it kind of just slowly fades away because we continue to look at that moment to fuel our Christianity, when it's not that at all. Is that moment that introduces us to him. An awareness that he's with us. And then you hang on to that of going, I'm with you, Jesus. Matthew, we've been going through Matthew. If you're with us on Sunday mornings, Steve is going through the book of Matthew right now. And like Matthew's gospel is all about one theme. He starts with it and he ends with it. And it's God is with us. And so I just want to share with you guys something that we've done before, because Steve's gone through this stuff. But let's go to Matthew chapter 1. We'll kind of just launch this thing from here and see where we go. So this is just a simple thing. Matthew chapter 1, right? Verse 21. And here's the angel talking to Joseph. She will give birth to a son, that's Mary, and you are to give him the name Jesus. What does the name Jesus mean? God with us. The one who saves, right? The one who saves. Because he will save his people, he will save his people from their sins. All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. The virgin will be with child and will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. He starts with this thing of just, there's an understanding that we have to get, that God is with us. Sometimes when we have these experiences with Jesus, we feel that he's just some far-off distant God who comes and visits us for a second, right? Yeah, and then we change our lives and he just floats back to heaven or something like that. And then we're kind of left to our own devices to make the right decisions. And if we make the wrong decisions, he's going to come and karate chop us. Wow, wrong. Or if we do the right thing, like give a cup of water to somebody that's thirsty, he's going to float down off of the heavens and lay his hands on us, and we're going to shine, right? Oh, the good Christians. So it's this almost like, let's perform just right to make sure that we're in God's good graces, so we do just what's right. And it's not that at all. It's the understanding that he is with us all the time. And there has to be an awareness that he's with us all the time. But it's like, for what purpose is he with us all the time? And I think this is where there's a lot of confusion that happens within the church. And you guys got to stay with me, because this is fairly important, because this will affect your Christianity for the rest of your life. It is not about God into your life to bless your life. That is not why he comes and dwells with us. It's because he loves us so much that he's actually inviting us into his life, into his purpose, and into his mission. There's a transformation that happened to me on July 8th, 2001. A transformation that said, it's no longer what I want, but it's discovering first what you want, and then going after that. It's no longer me, right? It's about him. This cross right back here, this is a big deal to me, because this is where our journey starts and ends. It starts with the realization that he loves us so incredibly much that he would give everything. He would give up his own life just to be with us. But it's not just so we can live a nice, happy life, white picket fence, nice job, nice car, right? It's all about us being invited into his purpose, into his reality. And his reality is all about making all things new, where he brings us from death to life. And this is Jesus' job, and this is what he's passionate about, and he's inviting us into this life as well. Will you join me in making all things new, from taking things from death to life? And that's why it's a big deal that we do what Barbara was encouraging us to do this morning, of just, will you partner with Jesus in what he's doing? He's with us, and it's the purpose of us being invited into his life to do what he's actually doing. Is he going after cancer this morning? Yeah, and he's inviting you into that adventure of going, let's go after this thing, man. This is the role. This is our job. Let's go put all of this stuff under our feet, stomp it into the ground, and go after it. Go after the healing. Go after the joy. Go after the peace, the patience, the kindness, everything that comes with his life in our lives. So that's my question. Is he with you? How do you know this? How do you know that he's always with you? And I think if you're looking at circumstances, we're looking at things completely wrong. It's a matter of, will you carry on with your life when you don't see an answer anyway? We don't see a resolution right now for Evelyn's cancer. Can we still carry on anyway, knowing that he's inviting us, Jesus is inviting us into his life of going, let's chase this thing down, let's not give up. My job, Jesus is saying, my job is to make all things new. Let's keep running after this one. How about hopelessness and despair, confusion that you're living with? I don't know how I'm in this place doing these stuff. How did I get here? Anybody ever said that? How did I get here? It's a matter of he's with you, empowering you to say, come on, my life and your life. Let's go after what really matters right now. You can get yourself out of this pit, and I'm going to show you how. It's not doing the things you've always thought. It's doing brand new things. Empowered by his Spirit with us. I was super encouraged, guys. I read a psalm a couple of days ago, and it was just like, whoo, there it is, man. This is good stuff. And it was, I think, the author of the psalm, whoever it happened to be, was really in a place that I think we find ourselves a lot. When you follow Jesus, there's a certain element of confusion that you just got to get used to. All right? Like we see this in the Gospels and stuff when he talks to the Pharisees and they're like, what are you talking about? Or when he talks to his disciples, like, are you serious right now? Can you clear that up for us, please? Like there's a certain element of, what? That we just got to get satisfied with when we follow Jesus. And I think where that matters the most is where there's moments of our lives, elements of our lives that really matter. Like, this is a big deal, God. I need you. We're not just talking about a paycheck here. We're talking about life and death. God, I need you. We could be talking about divorce. God, I need you. Where are you? Could be the situation that's going on in the neighborhood that we decided to live in. Awful people doing awful things. Like, God, where are you? Certain days of the week, I can't let my own kids play in the street that they call home. Like, really, how long do we got to put up with this? Where are you? And you just want to amen what I'm talking about right now, right? Amen? Like, how long do we got to do this? How long does Evelyn have to sit in a hospital room? Where are you, God? Could be issues with our own family, like, can this get resolved soon, please? Or don't you care, God? And I think that's where we get our screwed up theology sometimes of he kind of floats away when things are bad and floats towards us when things are good based on our own performance of how we think things should be going. There's some confusing stuff that's going on, right? Do I move? Do I stay? God, where are you? Will there be a resolution to this at some point, God? And so I cracked open the psalm the other day, and it was just, this is so good. It was so encouraging. And so it's in Psalm chapter 10. Did I say that? Psalm chapter 10. Verse 1. It He says, why, O Lord, do you stand far off? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? In his arrogance, the wicked man hunts down the weak who are caught in the schemes he devises. He boasts of the cravings of the heart. He blesses the greedy and reviles the Lord. In his pride, the wicked does not seek him. In all his thoughts, there is no room for God. His ways are always prosperous. He is haughty. That's a weird word. And your laws are far from him. He sneers at all his enemies. He says to himself, nothing will shake me. I'll always be happy and never have trouble. And he's saying, like, look at, there's people out there that are just, they're not okay. And they're just turning their eyes to you. They're turning their nose to you. Like, where are you? Where are you? Are you echoing what this guy is saying right now in Psalm 10? You guys hear what I'm saying? Like, where are you? Anybody going through this stuff right now? Like, where are you? Okay, I'll take that blank stare as, heck yeah, Geordie. All right. And this is what he continues to say, right? He says, verse 12, arise, Lord, lift up your hand, O God. Do not forget the helpless. Why does the wicked man revile God? Why does he say to himself, he won't call me to account? But you, O God, do see trouble and grief. You consider it and take it in hand. The victim commits himself to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. That's good news, isn't it? Do I need to read that again? Good, all right. It says, arise, Lord, lift up your hand, O God. Do not forget the helpless. This is his plea. God, don't forget those who need you. Why does the wicked man revile God? Why does he say to himself, he won't call me to account? But you, O God, you do see trouble. You do see grief. You consider it to take it in hand. You get that? You consider it. You do see it. You take it in hand. The victim commits himself to you, and you are the helper of the fatherless. So who is God? He is the helper of the fatherless. There's somebody that is going to stand on our account. It's not God far off. It's our misunderstanding of who God is. And God is going to stand with those who are fatherless and do need help. Where are you, God? He said, check it out. I'm considering it, and I'm right here. Verse 17, here's the kicker right here. You hear, O Lord, the desire of the afflicted. You encourage them, and you listen to their cry. You hear us. You hear us. You hear us, God. And that is something that we have to take to the bank. What we just did before I started talking, that Barbara helped us with, God did hear us. Now it's up to us to believe who God is. Is he far off and distant, totally ignoring our situations? Or is he with us? As Matthew encourages us in his gospel that he is. Emmanuel, God with us. And he sees us. And he's considering what's going on. And he's drawing near to us. And he's a father to the fatherless. And he hears our affliction. And he knows our pain. And he knows what you're going through. It's a matter of, will you believe that he is with you? Once you believe and understand and know that he is with you, and you're not going to let go in the circumstances that your life gives you, that I'm with you, God. I don't understand what's going on, but I am with you, God. It's an invitation into a lifestyle of saying, empower me to do what your heart is, God. Empower me to do what I need to do. I'm going to stand with you because I understand that cancer is not from you. And so I'm going to stand with you. And I'm going to keep shouting that thing down until it actually goes down because I know that you hear my prayer. The situations that we have with our families, the division that we have, the confusion that's in there. It's a matter of God sees that. He is with you. And he's empowering you to do what's right in that situation. So you can either escalate the situation or de-escalate the situation. Whatever he says. Because he is with you. You guys with me on this one? He is with you. Do not give up hope, church. In whatever situation that you're in right now, do not give up hope. Take a step back. Realize that he is with you. He is with you. And he hasn't abandoned you. and he hasn't left us yet. And he's not floating in the clouds waiting for us to do something right to come down, right? Ooh, that was a good prayer. Let me answer that one, right? Like, no, that's not how he acts. He's with us all the time. And he empowers us. He invites us into this life. This cross right here tells us that he's inviting us into this life that we get to participate with him in making all things new. So we actually get to stand in the victorious end of things and go, your word, God, is that you're with us. But what we have to do is begin to be empowered by him in us. Stop looking at your circumstances. Start looking at him. Say, God, what do you want me to do with this thing? How do you want me to act right now? I'm yours. I'm with you. This isn't about God with his magic wand trying to make our lives better. This is about us laying our lives down to make other lives better. I'm going, I will stand for this. And I know you haven't left me yet. I will stand for this because the world needs me to stand for this. It's the reason why we live in a neighborhood where I can't let my kids out on certain days of the week, is because it's not okay with me. I'm going to be part of the solution of going, God has not left me. He is in this neighborhood. He is with me, and I'm going to continue to do what I'm supposed to do in this neighborhood. Reaching out, praying, be an example, because there's some awful things that are being done by awful people. Would you agree with that? What are we going to do? God, you ignored us. God, this is a hopeless situation. No. God is with us. What have you empowered me with, God, where I can make an effect in the neighborhood that you've given me? We're not in a hopeless situation at all. We have the solution to every single problem, don't we? His name is Jesus. But he's going to use you to be part of that solution. This is what I think Matthew 28, the Great Commission, is all about. So let's just quickly go there, because this is the end of Matthew's gospel. His beginning of the gospel is Emmanuel, God with us. Everybody good? And the end of his gospel is Matthew 28 and the Great Commission, where he empowers us. So Matthew 28, verse 18. Then Jesus came to them and said, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. That's good news, eh? Let's just read that again, because we've got to let that sink in. This is after the death. This is after the tomb. Then Jesus came to them and said, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. And surely I'm, what does it say there? With you, always. Surely I'm with you, always, to the very end of the age. And so it's a commission, but it's also an identity statement, isn't it? Say, check it out. I've given you the resources to be successful, and I'm with you. So what is our response to that this morning, church? Is there some hopeless situations that you're going through that need a little bit of breath of hope in? Good news, he's with us. He's not far off. He's right there. He's drawn near to us, and he's with us. Do you believe that this morning? That he's with you. He's with you. For why? What purpose? That purpose is to join with him in his mission to make all things new. There's some wrong things out there, guys, and there needs to be a right put on it. Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that? Anybody? Anybody want to volunteer for that? Yeah? Who's going to do that? He's with you. He's given you the resources to do what he's doing. And what he is doing is making all things new. Looking at wrong things, and let's go, that's wrong. Let's make that right. Children that have been abandoned by their parents. Let's go make that wrong. aright. That might take some work, people. That might take a whole bunch of work. That might take years, decades of commitment. But check it out. He's with you. Got to get our thinking switched on this one just a little bit. Where this Christianity thing isn't about how I get blessed through saying yes to Jesus, but it's a matter of how do other people get blessed through my saying yes to Jesus. So I was distracted by the clapping there for a minute. Yeah. When you read the letters like Paul and John, and I'm not going to name them all, but you know what I mean, all the letters of the guys that have followed Jesus, they talk about suffering, and I think what I'm trying to talk about this morning is the suffering that they went through. Obviously, they went through physical suffering and died and all that. So, but they also mention a suffering, right? And really, it is representing one world while living in another. There's a suffering that's involved in that one, but it's in knowing that I'm with Jesus. The world is going to tell you a whole bunch of crazy stuff about what should and shouldn't happen, right? Well, you can't do that. You can't do this. Like, oh, that's great. Thanks for the advice. But I'm going to go to Jesus on this one and see what he says. Oh, there's no cure for cancer. Well, there is Jesus. There's Jesus. What does he say? He's empowered us to do something. Let's go do that. Don't give up hope. Just because the world says it's not going to work out, don't give up hope. Just because your life isn't going the way that the media tells you it should go, don't give up hope. Never give up hope. You could be going through some horrible things in family dynamics and maybe personal stuff going on. You could be going through some horrible stuff, but God is with you. God is with you. He's there to make all things new, to make wrong things right. Have I said the same thing 15 times yet? Kind of wanted to, because it's a big deal that we get the understanding of what Matthew was trying to tell us in his gospel. And that thing was, God is with you. He hears your cry. He knows your affliction. He knows your trouble, and he's just waiting to empower you, to agree with you, to partner with you in trying to make a solution for a positive change on this one. And sometimes we try to just muddy the waters a little bit of going, okay, I got my plan, Jesus got his plan. We're going to try to mix these two things together and see what's going to happen, right? And that'll never work. That'll just always be disaster because it's never his plan. When things get totally horrible and things just seem completely without hope, that's when we try to start to make compromises. Yeah? A little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? Well, if I just reduce this or just add this, right, it becomes our plan, right? When things are absolutely hopeless, the first thing we do is abandon God because we want control. And when we grasp for control, then we're just back in charge, aren't we? And we don't let God be with us. And there's a quote that The Darkest Hour. Anybody see that movie, The Darkest Hour? Winston Churchill movie. It's in the war. Just a great quote comes from that one. And just like I've stolen it to add to my life. I know it wasn't why he said this at all, but it's just in that particular situation, like the Germans are coming, man. Like they're gonna take Britain. They're right at the edge of France, so that you can see them from certain points of England, right? And Churchill gets in charge, and he keeps saying, "We're gonna fight them." And the whole British Parliament is going saying, "No, you got to make peace with this guy. We're screwed. We're going to lose." And Churchill keeps going, "We're going to fight him." And nobody's on Churchill's side. And he has this amazing quote to get people to understand the severity of what he's talking about. He says, "You don't negotiate with a tiger when your head is in its mouth. You don't negotiate with a tiger when your head is in his mouth." I like, whew, that blew my hair back when I heard that, man. And I said, if we just apply that to our Christianity, we'd be way better off. Let's just stop negotiating with the devil when we have the full power to do something about it. History tells us that Churchill does the right thing, and he gives the onslaught, man, straight into him. This is like the famous turning of the war. Like we were losing by then, man. And the whole thing turned because Churchill said, we're going to fight. Miracle happened, man. Like they shouldn't have won that thing, but they did. They just threw all of their resources, everything they got into this thing of making this wrong thing right. Does that make sense? Kind of using a parallel. I hope you guys get that one. Don't read too much into that. Just like we're making wrong things right. I think we got to take that same page, don't you? Let's stop negotiating with the devil. And let's go kick him right where it needs to be kicked. I'm throwing everything at you. I'm with Jesus. He's with me. He's empowered me to make wrong things right. He's empowered me to do what needs to be done. He's empowered me to never give up. He's empowered me to never lose hope. He's empowered me to see the right things and to point out the wrong things and to say, I'm with Jesus, and I'm going after what he wants me to go after. I'm with him. He hears my cries. Even when it looks hopeless, I know that he hears them, and he holds them in his hand, and he considers them, and he's with me. And I know he's going to do his justice. One day, he will do his justice. There will be a final day where he does his justice. But I'm not waiting until that day. He's empowered us, and he's empowered you and me to do something about it today. So let's do something about it today, knowing that there will be a culmination of this thing one day. We're not there yet, but he's empowered us to make sure that we continue on his mission that the cross tells us about, that we're going to make wrong things right. We're going to make all things new. We're changing everything from our world order to his world order. And we're going after his kingdom on this earth. Don't give up hope. He's with us. He is with us. The King of Kings, the one who's actually in charge, is with us. The one who has all authority, like Matthew 28 tells us, is with us. Let's get some hope this morning again. Let's get some drive again of going, all things are going to be made new, and I'm going to help. And whatever aspect that is, we might not see the finished product, but we're going to start to plow a trail where somebody else can take over. We're going to move in such a way where people will be inspired to do what we're doing. Of going, I'm not going to give up hope. I know that God is with us. I know that he's not far off. I know that he's right there with us, considering our prayers, considering our circumstance, our plight. And he's right there with us. And there's no way I'm going to negotiate with the tiger. I'm going to fight. Let's fight. Let's fight for truth. Let's fight for peace. Let's fight for our families. Let's fight for crazy circumstances. Let's fight for our leaders. And we have been fighting. And that house getting rebuilt has been a great symbol of that. Of I will fight for what's right. I'll be part of the reconciliation of this place. And look at like the people that have helped with that, man. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? You get a work crew like that to produce something like that. It's pretty special, isn't it? Trust me, it's special. It was a significant moment in the history of the Father's House, July 8th. And it will continue to be a significant moment, July 8th. Because it's a continual reminder of what people can do when their minds are put to something, when their commitment is put to something, when they want something new, they want something different, and they're going to start to become the change, yeah? Not just wail against, oh, poor pitiful me. It's a matter of, I will become what he's asking me to become. Pretty special? Pretty good stuff, all right? How about...